Oh,
David?
hi, Jeff.
Morning.
Hi, Bill. You both got here at the same moment.
Oh,
Oh, isn't that funny?
Are you on your phone?
I have to try this on my phone. Yeah, I cannot fix my laptop. It's 7 years old and they really can't get parts and will not do it.
Oh,
So
geez.
I've got to, at some point, I'm going to have to get another laptop or get a new desktop, which I'm kind of due for anyways, and move the old one down here and just use that for this. So I may actually do that. But I need a laptop when I travel anyway. So I got to buy one or the other, but I haven't decided which yet.
I
So
see.
hi, Bill.
hi.
So I'm on my phone. At least it works, and I have to position it now such that you can see me, which I haven't done yet.
Okay. My goodness.
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay.
Good. Good. Good to see you.
Same here.
How is that?
Well, I can see you for the about the knees up.
Okay.
We'll take what we can get.
Perfect.
Better?
There you go. Good.
That's good.
Good.
All right. Okay.
Don't touch it.
And can you hear me too?
Yep.
Okay. We'll give that a try then.
Wonder of wonders. Good. Good.
Okay.
Great. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Busy weekend.
Yeah.
We're down in
So,
New York, New Jersey.
Oh,
Uh,
gosh.
my birthday,
Oh, happy
a
birthday.
christening of a grandson,
Oh,
and a
gosh.
civil wedding ceremony. Yeah. So
Ha!
1, 2, 3. Lots of driving around and
Wow.
busyness. So I'm glad I'm looking okay.
Yeah.
I got good sleep last night, so.
We have one of our boys and his wife here
Ah,
visiting, so that's nice. And the other one's coming next week, so
oh,
we
good.
to see a little bit of everybody. So, good. So, having had all this time to practice, do you arrive with questions?
No, no.
None you want to throw out. Anything for you, Jeff?
just still trying to grasp and practice and work on lengthening in more so than anything.
Um, I wish you were here.
Well, I hope to be in October, at least for that one class. So we'll work
Yeah.
on it then, I guess.
Yep. Um, there is an exercise that kind of gives you an idea, but it has to be another person doing it to you.
Right. Okay.
So we'll hope we'll try it in October if you're still struggling.
Okay. Fair enough.
How how do you feel about lengthening?
I didn't hear the.
Oh, lengthening in, he was
Oh,
saying, is still a.
well, I think I feel it. You know, as I said last week, I think from God's
Mm,
uh, in 5 and 6, where it's not the full extension, where
yeah,
I'm
where you condensed.
pulling back a bit. It's not the same thing exactly, but it's, you know, it's a feeling of coming back into the body.
Yep.
Uh, so I relatively satisfied that I'm feeling something. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
So
assume that in 50 or 60 years it'll be, you know, a stronger feeling.
maybe even sooner, hopefully. Um, so just speaking about that, I might say that yes, while we think about lengthening being done when we're pretty pretty fully extended out, that even if you do condense, that you still can have lengthening at that condensed length, condensed level. I guess is a way to put it. Um, and it's a little harder to feel when you're condensed usually than it is fully extended, but that's so you're right, Jeff, in thinking about it in terms of springing back, of coming back in. Um, so if you can get a sense of the the connective tissue releasing out, it will pretty much automatically come back in because it really is like the movement of a rubber band. As I said, you're you're stretching or extending that rubber band out through releasing and letting go, and then
Right.
it will automatically come back. So um, not not the easiest principle to um, either understand or incorporate, admittedly. But
Well, it wouldn't be the first that isn't easy, so I'll keep working on it.
yeah, well, none of this is really easy, but it's all very simple.
Yeah,
That's
very
how
true.
I look at it. Um,
Yep.
so,
It's
um,
just, easy as far as the mind grasping the simplicity of it all and not
yeah,
overthinking it.
yep.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing for us because
Yep.
we put way too much thought into it. We have to put some in, certainly when we're beginning, but um,
Right.
we also have to learn to not overdo it.
Right.
Good. So, as I've said before, the Eight Gates is a great place to work on all of these elements, and certainly it's a good place to work on lengthening.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things, of course, we talked about is not to rush things, to slow them down. Um, but even more than slowing them down, sometimes I found anyway, working on lengthening, that actually pausing at the full limit of each direction and making sure that I was doing it, making sure it was happening. So um, actually, when you begin the 8 gates, you're lengthening in to the middle. So it starts with a lengthening in, which means that you have to actually begin with a lengthening out before you lengthen in, and then you pause and feel, have you actually released inward, and then lengthen out and pause and feel that extension, because the 8 gates is a great place to work on that, because you're not trying to reach out um, in those postures. They're all at most at your 80%. You're never extending that. So that's a good place to work on it. Even if you only work on a few moves. So that might be something to think about incorporating in your practice
Right.
a little bit. So um, let's do the 8 gates. I'm not going to pause it today. Um, so because if we pause it, we'll spend the whole class on it.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I think so. I um, I know I am. So, just as I've talked about at the beginning of the form, where we want to be opening and closing, which also includes lengthening out and lengthening in. Um, if you do that at the beginning of the 8 gates, and you establish that lengthening before you begin, so that when you do begin, you can go right into it and just continue. So you get any sense of lengthening in that?
Yeah, if I if I remember that it's beginning with the spine and coming from the spine, it helps me not to use my muscles
Uh-huh.
to lengthen. Yeah.
Yep. It's not the same as bend and stretch.
Right.
Jeff?
Yes. Um, all along, I've been okay on the lengthening out. It's the lengthening in that well, I was struggling with it because I was really not thinking of it correctly either. I wasn't thinking of it in terms of the rubber band coming back. So
Yep.
now that I am, I do feel like I'm starting to sense it more
Oh,
and
good.
think of it in that way. So I do feel like I'm making progress.
Good.
And some of those postures more so than others.
Yep.
But overall, getting more of a sense for the lengthening in.
Uh-huh. Good. So, one of the major things we've worked on in all of this is connecting the elbows to the scapula and therefore beginning to open up the connection to the spine, which is also part of this. And one of the important elements of that connection is that the elbows are pointing at least somewhat towards the earth as often as possible, and there are some where that's more possible than others. Obviously, when we get to the middle dantian, but it's important even at the middle dantian that the elbows be lower than the wrists,
Yeah.
not lifted, which immediately begins to close off the shoulder. And I would have to go back and look at your movement in the video, Jeff, because I cannot, standing away like this, I can't see the movement of your elbow. So
Right.
I'm watching Bill, poor Bill's getting focused on here. But um, it comes and goes, Bill.
Okay.
It's present in some postures more than others.
The elbows dropped.
Well, it's not only dropped, but getting that circular movement. And the elbows dropped and the circular movement is all part of what, of course, helps the shoulders to relax and makes that, opens that connection to moving the scapula, and therefore making it possible to connect to the spine. And one of the things that's interesting came up in another class recently was that somebody was moving their elbows with using their scapula to move their elbows, which is interesting because it is possible, but it's not a very effective way to do this.
Okay.
And so the problem is that we very often simply bend and extend the elbows. We lose the fact that we want some sort of circular movement, and it's harder in some positions than others. And it's tied into that letting go and releasing that obviously we were just talking about in lengthening, but that you have to do that in order to get the elbows to be able to make that connection.
I would say, among the difficult areas for me is, for instance, in this posture, I can feel my shoulders lifting when I try to do my elbows, and so I stop. Because I don't want my shoulders to lift, but then the elbows stop
Yep.
moving. Yeah.
Well, and in that particular one of the things really is that you have to let the shoulders relax and sink in order to find that circular movement. Um, so yeah, relaxing the shoulders is a major part of being able to do this, because the shoulders tightening gets in the way simply of the movement of the energy, but also in the movement that we're trying to make. So that's something to really be aware of, because we're also wanting that to be happening, of course, in our form, um, in differing ways, but still we want the clear understanding that in all of these Taoist practices, one of the major focuses is that everything is circular. Um, and so I was going to say something else, but I completely lost it. So, any questions about that?
Just for a little bit more clarity, David, the purpose and goal of our relaxing the elbows and letting them point down as much as possible is to keep the scapula and the shoulders relaxed. And what other purpose is there beyond that?
To connect the energy to the earth.
Okay,
As soon as you go to here, the energy can't
broken.
do that.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
if we were also trying to do that in our intent.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Right.
And as you said, uh, keeping the elbows pointing downward as much as a particular posture permits, um,
Right.
helps to release the shoulders and the scapula, and it can be really significant. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's a very small difference.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, once you just feel that little one, that point that you pass through where it's either your scapula are tense or they're not tense. It's just that one little passage point, and
yep,
it can be a very, very tiny minimal difference. But
yep,
I can definitely feel that. I can definitely
good,
feel that.
good. And and obviously this is all relating to the lengthening as well,
Yeah.
because if you're not um, connecting the elbows, your relaxed elbows through your relaxed shoulders to your relaxed scapula, you can't do lengthening. So it's all connected. So, any other questions in there at the moment? So, so in what time you can practice this week, one of the things I really want you to be clear about is that you are finding that circular movement in the elbows, not just bending them. You know, I think we've talked about this before, but that exercise that we used to learn the movement of um, movement two in dragon and tiger is is really an incredible movement for getting that connection, because it's even more complex than what we're doing in the eight gates. but the elbow starts out and down a little. It circles down even further. It comes up the inside and over and drops again to release. And you have to relax your shoulder in order to do that. You can't make that movement if you let the shoulder get tight and it just gets locked up. So that's a really good exercise to get that sense of the circularity and the relaxing of the shoulder that's necessary in there. So just another piece to play with. So the form. So do you feel like you're struggling with any of the postures at this particular juncture?
Not struggling, no.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's flow one at a time. So, who would like to go first?
Well, I'll let Bill decide.
You go, Jeff.
Okay. Actually, I was kind of hoping you would say that.
Okay, so uh,
I may have to adjust once or twice along the way, David, just because of
yep.
my space limitation.
Okay. I know there's a way to. What can I remember how to do that? I don't see the way to do that at all. Good heavens. Yeah, there it is there. But I don't see it here. Oh, there, no.
I just adjusted, and that's the best picture I can get without having to constantly move the phone.
Okay. There we go. Do you have any comments?
No, not really.
Hard to see, actually.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of the old moonwalks where you have disturbance in the signal coming back.
Yeah. Not an ideal way to watch you.
Was it too small or was it stuttery or what
It was
happened?
stuttery from
Yeah.
time to time,
Uh,
um, but
okay.
certainly everything seemed to be in the right place. You were in, from what I could tell, pretty good control. Um, I still felt that you were making some things too big,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
um, that
I did, from that flow, I did realize I would, if and when we have time today or next time, I'd like to look at gargoyles some more with the hand movement in particular.
oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
yeah, we can do that. Absolutely.
well, it will probably be a couple of weeks before I get a laptop, but I do need it for this because I'm also having a lot of trouble seeing any detail at all because I'm looking at you on this little tiny screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will try and rectify that as soon as I can.
Well, believe me, I understand. I
Yeah,
can't just instantly do it. Um,
right, right.
good. Unfortunately, I don't think I can give you much more um,
Yeah, I understand.
feedback
That's
on,
okay.
on that. Um, I mean, you are certainly basically doing everything reasonably well. There were no uh, gross errors or anything.
Right.
So, um, so we'll look at
Gargle.
gargoyles
Yeah, that'd be good.
in a minute.
All right, thanks. Okay.
Good. Now let me see if I can unpin you. Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting back. I've forgotten all of this. So yeah, I'd like you to do it so you're on the camera.
Yeah. This would be the best way to do that, I think.
Okay. How did you feel that flow was?
A couple of hiccups, but you know, I was reasonably satisfied. It feels like it's connecting over the whole thing more than it used to,
Uh-huh.
rather than separate parts. But
I would say that's true. Um, I think one of the things that you can still work on um, is just being a little more specific about keeping everything moving together. Um, there's still places where your arms are tending to move independently, not totally independently, but kind of independently. So finding that absolute connection. For instance, I think single whip is still an issue for you to some extent. So what's happening with your arms is happening because of how the body is moving. And your tendency is to let it be too much to a certain extent. So this movement doesn't have to be here, it can be here. It doesn't have to go big out, it can go here, which makes this movement easier. And then if you can get the movement of the body to rotate and raise the arms into that position.
yeah.
So that kind of connection needs to develop a little more in almost
Whole body movement.
Going through, whole body movement.
Yeah.
I was saying again, oh, did you want to say something?
Yeah.
Oh, in another class, in the Wu Xiang classics, it says when one part of the body moves, all parts move, and when any part is still, all parts are still. And of course, that's just talking about what Master Joe talks about in terms of a whole body movement. In wave hands, if on going to the left side, you start that rotation with the right hand higher than the left, because what you're doing on the left side is bigger, not a bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bigger, because you've got a step and you're in almost a bow stance. You have a bigger movement here than you do on the other side.
Yeah.
So this movement starts here and keeps rotating, and this one keeps rotating as well, but when it comes back, it's here. But notice that I don't come to here and freeze and step and then go on. That step is continuing to circle the ball. This movement never stops. It's doing, as a matter of fact, if you just are standing there, I mean, this is really what it's doing.
Get the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
Well, frankly, what I've been over focused on probably is keeping the hands off the midline. And, you
And
know,
that was
as usual, when I really focus on something, other things go by the wayside. So,
of course. And that's a very good thing for you to focus on because you do have a tendency to come to here rather than that slight separation that brings you to connecting to the left and right channels. Um, so, for instance, in the very beginning, your tendency is to come into here
yeah,
instead of here,
okay.
and here, and
Okay.
not here, here.
Mm, I think that's, yeah, it's nobody's fault, but that's the first time I realized
Ah,
that in terms of, you know, moving them apart to
yep.
the channels, okay.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I didn't say that
Well,
sooner.
no, well,
But yeah, you're connecting to the left and right channels, which you know where those are.
yeah.
I know you know where those are. So, Jeff, you had asked about gargoyles.
Right. Actually, one quick question slash comment about Bill's form.
Mm-hmm.
Is this one of the forms where we want to finish in the same footsteps where we started?
Uh, you know,
I asked because Bill did. It seemed like he finished exactly where he started, which to me says his stepping is good and consistent. So that's why I'm asking.
yeah, no, uh, that would be good if you are close um, to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm always adjusting for my lack of space here, so I never really end up exactly where I started, but Bill didn't
Yeah.
have to adjust. And it looked like he ended up exactly where he started, which means that to me that his stepping was pretty consistent and where it
Yep.
should have been.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff, because at home I generally practice in the same confined space as you,
Yeah.
and I have to
Yeah,
switch,
exactly.
a couple of times. So having this
Right.
big open space here is kind of
Yeah.
disorienting from time to time. I said, oh, okay,
That's a good thing.
where's my desk? Where's my chair?
Right. Right. All right, that was it. That was it.
I'm sorry?
That was it. That was the only thing I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to ask.
So, when we've been in, and I have to admit I'm not able to be in exactly the right position, but when we complete this,
Right.
offering incense, as you're shifting back, the arms are just separating, and you're shifting to 100%. And then as you rotate and step back, that begins to turn the arms and form the fists. And as you rotate forward, settling into the rear leg, you form the fists. And basically the same thing happens on the other side. You're already now 100% on the left foot in this posture. So
Right.
as you rotate right and step back, that opens and that's your bend in, and then you form the fists and extend out. So the arms um, the arms are continuously moving ideally.
Right.
Yeah.
Are the arms rotating that entire time?
Yes.
All right, that's what I was not clear about. And I also wasn't real clear about when they settled to the proper height across from the dantian, and is it the lower and middle dantian that they're across
Yes,
from in this?
yes.
So when do they actually get to that height?
At the moment that you get to 100% on the back foot.
All right, so they are adjusting in height and rotating the entire time until you're done rotating.
Yeah, there's not a great deal of difference in height um, until they separate, because here they just separate to the same level, and then when you begin to rotate back, then
Yeah.
they begin to change height. Boom.
Right. Okay.
And then in and boom. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
You want to try
and these
that?
these are palms. These are
I'm
palms facing each other, also, right?
I'm sorry.
And this is palms facing each other, right?
Yes, it is.
It's not this. It's this
Just a
on
second.
this one.
Just a second, and I'll look.
So it's this, not this.
Come on. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Um, what have I done here? It's okay. Well, do you see remove pin? Uh, what have I done? I've lost him. Can you hear me, Jeff? He's gone. He is gone. Oh, well, that was the problem. Where'd you go, Jeff? That's weird. Let me make sure he's not. Uh, no. Is that Jeff? What does that say?
There's a message.
Oh, yeah? Well. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether I did that or whether
Yeah.
he lost connection. Hmm. Oh. Here he comes. There you are.
Hi. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't touch anything, but I lost you. So
Yeah.
I couldn't get back in, so I left and I came back.
I don't know. I don't know what happened either.
Okay. Well, I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay. So show me your fists again.
All right. So I was saying that when we end up fists like this, with facing each other,
Yes.
not not like that. This is the earlier posture. This is
Right.
gargoyles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gargoyles is palm to palm,
All right. That's what I yeah.
and
So I needed the clarification of the whole rotation, where they ended up, when they stopped rotating,
Yeah,
and the height, So I needed a little clarity on that.
they don't stop rotating. That's the issue in that, because
That's the clarity.
we tend to get the end of the first one and
Right.
freeze for a moment and then go to the second one. And so ideally we like to keep that moving.
Yeah, I was getting to the end of the rotation on both way too early. So
Yeah.
they were just kind of holding and moving at the end, which that didn't feel right.
Yep.
So, all right.
Good. Any other questions in there at the moment?
Nope. Nope.
No, right in there, I think my steps are too big in guardrails.
Uh-huh. Uh,
Definitely on the left, I get myself so far back that I need to do a little hop step to get.
well, it's okay to have that front foot float forward into or float back into position, but the it what's really important there is that the step is empty. If you land on that step, then you've already lost part of the movement, so
Yeah,
you've landed
yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
I was just determining what, and that I usually do,
Okay.
land.
um, it needs to be an empty step so that you have all of that rotation to move the arms and to drag this person into whatever you're doing to them.
And so when it comes to the front, that's where the weight gets shifted over to the other side.
No, it's still you step from the back. So in other words, you've gone into the first one, and you go right into
Yes, yeah,
The
no, I
second.
mean coming from the first one.
going into the first one.
No, coming, okay, so, the foot goes back and then you form this, and
Yeah,
at that
palm to
point, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
at that point, the weight is,
So you shift back 100% into the right foot, and you turn you turn and step empty, and then you fill it all the way through that movement. And then you step back empty, and you fill it all the way through that movement.
okay. Okay,
Is that
yes, yeah,
clear?
yeah.
Okay? So I think for today I'm going to stop there. Um, next week is the beginning of a new session. Um, so I'll just throw that out.
Okay.
And any other last minute thoughts or questions? You getting settled in there, Jeff?
Yeah, we're pretty well settled. Jesse's had a couple weeks at his new school, and Kate's securing a job today. So things are settling in.
Oh, good. Is he enjoying the
Yep.
school?
More so, yeah. A little bit of a transitional change.
Yeah.
Which he's experienced every year. But I mean, he told me yesterday, well, this morning he told me yesterday was his best day yet at that school, and he really enjoyed it. That's the
Oh,
first time he
good.
actually said that. So
Good.
yeah, he was very happy. He's doing well. It's a different style of school and a different school altogether. So
Yeah.
it'll take him a little bit to adjust. But we also started jujitsu class for him this last week.
Oh, good.
So he really likes that. I wanted, well, both of us wanted to get him introduced to martial arts. And so we did a free class for karate and a free class for jujitsu, and he really liked the jujitsu. So
Oh,
we signed
good.
him up to that. Yeah, yeah, that'll be great. Maybe this is the beginning of a life of martial arts. Who knows?
Oh, good. Great. Oh, well, that's good. Well,
Yep.
good. We'll see you next week.
All right. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great week.
Okay, you too,
Yep.
Jeff.
See you soon. Take care.